What's up, dude? It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at you in the bat cave. Why does it look all crazy like that?
Gotta have it dark, gotta be focused.
Is that what you do? You trade in the dark?
No, I mean the window's right here, so it's like obviously lit up at day,
No,
but
whatever works, man. Congrats on freaking seven figures. How does it feel?
feels good. I feel
Right?
I feel like I visualized it so many times that like it didn't like set in or anything. Like it feels overdue, I guess, but
Like like reality is catching up to what you expect.
yeah. Yeah.
Damn, dude. That's cocky. You're getting cocky.
No, it's been a grueler.
This is what Jack said. I was like, when Jack crossed $10 million, I was like, how does it feel? He's like, man, it's so much work. It's so much. And I was like, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, it's millions of dollars. Everyone wants it to be overnight, but like, you've now seen the ups and the downs. So like the way that you're explaining it, you're like, it's long overdue. I deserve this. There's also FYI people who work for years and decades and they never make anything. They're still in debt. They go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to appreciate it too.
I'm super grateful. Definitely way more appreciative than I was years ago. Like,
So just explain to everybody because I know your backstory. How did you get started? What initially got you into trading?
initially, it's funny. It was because like one of your Twitter posts and one of my friends and like I guess it was English class just showed me like the blue Lambo, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does he do? And he like just explained it to me. And he was like just buying Apple or like investing or whatever. And I just started like right then and there learning about trading like every day. And I believe that was October 2017.
Okay.
Like my first trade ever was like on Halloween. Like I remember that or whatever. So I was just trading during senior year a little bit here and there, and I got your first alert service. The one what I guess it's just the regular
Him alerts.
PIM alerts, yeah. And
Nice.
I mistakenly bought that because I thought I was buying penny stocking silver, but I guess I was just like so like emotionally buying it. Like I got to get this quick, And so I was just trying to learn through that. That was I got that for Christmas. That was my like Christmas gift. So I mean that's when it all started.
Nice. And I know, like what were you were in school then? Or did you have a job?
No, that was my senior year of high school.
Nice. I mean, I started in high school too. Were you skipping classes like I was? Don't skip class, kids.
Yeah, actually one of the like the day that I like knew that trading was what I was like gonna do is I bought PTON, I think it was, or POTN maybe.
Yeah.
And I bought it like seconds before you bought it and swung it overnight and made like 500 bucks, like skip first period, made 500 bucks before I walked in school. I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. Like I gotta,
You walk into school and you're like, yo, look at you, right?
I was just thinking, I was like, dang, like the teachers like aren't even making this right now. And they went to school for like 4 years. So if I just like figure this out, like I'll be good.
The upside is cool, but how did you do like your first year, first 2 years, first 3 years?
So first year, like super up and down up until the weed mania of 2018. So I got like kind of lucky in that because I was just dip buying stocks in the weed mania and ended up having like a 30 grand month in September 2018, which is cool because I was flat like the whole year, just like up and down like a grand or, you know, until that. And then I made 30K in a month and I was only 18. I was like, all right, like this is it. And then that December I blew like 20 of it. So
I
it was,
mean, you learn the ups and the downs. I think it's important for people to understand, it really helps when there's a hot sector, when there's, even if nothing's working for you, if you're just in the game and ready, when there's a hot sector and like things just everything comes together. And it's pretty amazing, like you said, like 30 grand in a month. But what did you do wrong? How did you blow the 20K?
pretty much just like invested all the day trading profits in like those weed stocks. So stupid.
Why? Did you not see my warnings? I did a whole like men's journal article saying these are all pump and dumps.
Yeah, no, it's way worse because like everything I made, I don't know, it was like just so stupid. Everything I made for like the next year, like I pretty much just kept averaging down the bags and it turned into like just like 70K losses that I finally took in like 2023.
So you had money that you had made from day trading, you invested it, and the day trading kept growing. How much were you up when you took the 70K in investment losses?
That was in 2023, so I held those bags for like 5 years.
Oh my God, you stubborn. Why? You thought they were going to come back?
I could have been buying like any large cap company and I would have been set, but no. Yeah, I remember
What?
going to the 2019 conference and I like asked Tim Bowen about that. I was like, man, like I'm having some success day trading, but I'm losing everything investing. And he's like, dude, just stop investing. And I was like, yeah.
Wait, you came to we did a little inner circle in Vegas and I saw you. That was when? I don't even know. Everything's all messed up in my mind.
I think that was July 2022.
But you didn't tell me you had those bags. I would have told you to cut right away.
I did in that interview that we
Did I
have.
tell you to cut right away?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But you didn't for another year.
I mean, I was already down like 99%.
So this is what I want people to understand watching this because this is good for people to hear. Like, look, every trader goes through this. I've had bags. Jack Kellogg had, he had a day where he cut his bags. He lost like $1 million or like $900,000 cutting his bags.
Mhm.
It's okay to have bags. It's okay to be stubborn. It's a consequence sometimes where you just believe. Um, the sooner you cut it, the better. Not even just money wise, but like emotion wise, because it's holding you back. It's like a toxic relationship, right? Like some people are in toxic relationships and they don't want to, break up because they're like, no, like, maybe it'll turn around. It's like I say, it's like being in an abusive relationship with like a drunk, and you're like, no, he's a good guy. He doesn't mean it. But like you got to cut that, right? Did you feel better when you cut those losses?
Yeah, I did, but I also just felt stupid because I let it happen for like so long. And really, the main lesson from that I got, and it took me like so long to realize this, is simply just like being patient on winners and not having any tolerance for losers. Like just getting rid of losers as fast as possible, admitting that you're wrong as fast as possible. But the flip side of that is true as well. Like you got to give your ideas like time to work. And it's funny, I would say that. It took me so long to learn how to like actually be patient and winners. And I would say I really didn't start getting good at it until like December. And of course now like I feel like this market today like is just back to like kind of a scalper's market right now. And I just got good like it actually holding on to my ideas. So now I'm having to bounce back and forth. And
It's a tough market right now. We're filming this. People are going to watch this, forever, but we're filming this in March of 2025. We've just had a crazy, crazy year and a half of like just upside and just plays galore. Some people say, the 2024 market was comparable to like 2020. Do you agree with that?
yeah, to an extent, yeah, I do.
But now 2025, we're a little choppy, like Clay just said, where, he got used to like giving more time to his winners and he's like, okay, I got this. And now the market changes. Like that's the market, right? Like I think it's amazing to go through everyone's entire journey. Like Clay started off in high school. But the weed sector starting up and growing really helped him make his first money. And now, to get over, I mean, we'll go over all the stuff in between, but to get over $1 million, what was the trade that worked for you?
So it was Tesla, and Tesla was what I like blew up on in March 2022 when I lost like 70K, and that's what
It was
sent
a revenge trade.
yeah, and I was like, all right, now it's March 2025, so hopefully the irony like sets in. Like hopefully I get a big trade on Tesla this week and it's like the thing it's the opposite. Instead of spiraling, it sends me soaring.
Look, I say the stock market in life has a sense of humor. Like you have like these ironic moments where it's like, of course, this is going to happen. But that's cool. Tesla has been an amazing runner for the past year. Like I think Tesla is a good example of like the crazy 2024 market. But now to start 2025, I mean, it's dropped what, 50% off its highs?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, shout out to Evan Shunk. He's one of my new millionaires too. And he's been literally making money with his trading profits and he's been investing it in Tesla. And he was up like $250,000 on his Tesla longs, and he's like, no, I'm not selling. I believe in Elon. I believe in the humanoid robots. And I'm like, dude, like, $250,000 on a long-term investment that he held it all during 2024. He didn't sell any. Okay. And now it's down. I think whether he's break even or up a little or down a little, he's doing what you did, where he's putting all of his money into another company. At least he's buying like a blue chip company, but still blue chip companies can drop 50% too. Like investing is such it's a thing I haven't mastered, like I don't take my trading profits and put them into anything. I mean, I actually donate all my trading profits, but like even before I started donating, I just stick to trading. Like, are you going to be an investor now, or have you learned your lesson?
No, like definitely trading focused right now, but my long-term vision is like definitely private equity. I want to get into that one day, but I mean, I need to get to where like Jack's at to be doing that.
Well, you're still, how old are you now?
24.
You're 24. Your long-term vision is just live, okay? Like just live. And we're going to go. It's funny because, I mentioned how, when you cross over $1 million, I like to do a little something for students, and I was like, "Yo, where do you want to go?" And you're like, "Japan." I'm in Japan right now. I literally just flew in here. I'm in my little dojo. It's a little messy, but it's pretty cool. I think you're gonna like Japan. But the trading hours suck. Like I totally screwed up on MASS today. Were you watching that one?
No.
You're all Tesla now.
Yeah, I'm still like 70% options. Because Jack has been making a couple good options trades. You got to think that he took like the perfect sequence. Like he went from OTCs, mastered it, went to small caps, made millions, then mid caps and large caps made millions. Like now he can trade options. I like went from small caps to OTCs to shorting to large cap options. It's like so backwards. So
Look, we all have our own journey, and I encourage you and I encourage everyone to try, all different kinds of strategies. It's whatever works. It's, obviously Jack is like the chosen one, where he's just like gliding through life and, going from like hot market to hot niche. But understand, like, Jack also puts in the time waking up at like 2, 3 in the morning. He always texts me when he wakes up. He texted me like 3:36 a.m., no alarm. And like he like texts me when he wakes up, and he's so determined. And he sent me some like ice fishing videos, and I was like, "Yo, why are your fish so small?" And I was like giving him crap about it, and then he's like, "I'm pissed. I'm gonna show you." And I was like, "That's what I want, right?" Like anything that drives you. What drove you, Clay? Like you had your ups and downs, but what drives you to keep going?
yeah, I feel like trading really brought out like parts of me that I'd never like known, like like emotional parts and made me learn a lot about myself. So it was more of like who I can become by trying to, master the different strategies and different things. And I mean, I would make so many mistakes like over and over, like that definition of insanity and stuff. And I'm just like, why am I doing this? So I'd have to like go back to like behavioral conditioning and like beliefs about myself and just things like that. And I feel like that's more of what I guess drove me to keep going. Because there were some parts where like I definitely probably like should have given up at how like just the grinder that I was in or
Well,
blend.
let's go back because I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'm literally just waking up here. You're back, making your what'd you say? You made 70K, or you cut your bags of 70K. What were you making along the way? How much were you up before? I know you had some troubles too.
So 2018, the first year was like maybe plus like 5 or 10K at the end after that because it was like kind of break even until that September 20 or 2018. And then I blew a bunch of it in December. 2019, I didn't make anything. I think I was down like $500 on the year.
Wow. And you're trading every day?
Yeah, so I think might have been up like 15K, but I blew like 20 grand on commissions or whatever it was, because that was back when there's still commissions. And I was just over trading like a madman, like just stupidly, like taking so many trades every day. And 2020 January is actually my lowest point because that's when I cut some other like holds, swing trades that didn't go well, just not cut loss quickly, obviously. And 2020 was a good market. So I found like a little bit of success in early 2020.
Yeah.
And then December of that year is when it kind of took off. And the big change that I made when it took off was not only were OTCs hot, but I was just sticking to one strategy. Like the strategy that was working. I just kept doing it. And I mean, I was like good at timing the entries, but I was terrible at exits too. And just like looking back at how much like improvement that there was then is what kind of motivated me to like just really get better because I don't know, like I was scalping dip buys like OTCs, for 10%, and then they run like 100%, like the TNSP,
Welcome
OZS.
to my life, buddy.
Yeah. And had that good streak into 2020 and the beginning of 2021, did like 550K, I think. And it just kind of like settled off from there until 2022 when I blew up on Tesla.
How much did you lose on your blow up?
It was 70K in like a week and a half.
Okay. So not a full blow up, but pretty psychologically damaging.
Yeah. I had a 54 grand loss in August of 2021, but I made that back like pretty quick. But the Tesla one on the weeklies was just like lose 20 grand and then every single day it was like 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand. So that one was a lot more like challenging to bounce back from.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, how did you come back from that? What did you do?
Honestly, it took like way too long and I was trying to find
How long? Just in case your perspective is flawed, since you're only 24 and you think everything is long and you're like a baby.
well, like two almost 3 years, almost 3 full years. So that was March 2022, and I don't think I hit new highs until into November, like 3 months ago, or into December.
Okay. That's like 10% of your life or 15% of your life. So that is a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and it was, I mean, the problem was, I bought my house and then paid taxes, and then I started like losing money for 2 straight years,
Whoa,
and
whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's talk about this because you didn't bring this up. I knew this was coming, but people watching didn't know this. When did you buy a house?
in June, or actually it was like July 4th is when I moved in of 2021. So like so right after I made like 600 like 600K in 6 months or something.
And so you're just like, yo, let's do this.
Yeah, I was living with two buddies in an apartment and it just like wasn't going well because like they were just on like completely opposite schedules and the environment wasn't good. So I was just like, all right, I need to like focus, move somewhere where I'll like by myself. But
You could rent like a one bedroom. You don't have to go to like buy a house
yeah,
if
no,
any
it was
apartment isn't working.
definitely I wouldn't do it again.
I mean, what was going through your mind where you're just like, I need my own place. I'm making a lot of money. Screw it. Let me buy a house.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, I just found a house I liked, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna, just gonna get this.
Did you negotiate at all, or were you just like full price? I don't care.
No, I just bought it, and it was like towards the high. So, I mean, there's like 8 bidders on this, like cash offers, and mine just happened to get accepted. It was dumb. And then I tried
So
to sell it like 2 years later because I was down so bad. I was like, damn, I need money. Like, I'm gonna have to get a job. I don't want to get a job. And I
yeah.
took it off the market at like the dead top. I was like, man, I knew I should have sold it.
So you're killing it with trading. You're mistiming your investments. You're mistiming your house. But is it a nice house? Are you happy with it at least?
Yeah, it's a nice house.
You didn't answer the second part of the question. Are you happy with it?
I mean, it wasn't a good decision at the time. I'll put it that way. I mean, my family enjoys it. Like they come down here and vacation all the time. Like by
So it's
them.
like bittersweet. You're like, I got this nice house, but it freaking screwed me because everyone watching, like, when you buy a house that's nice, that's a lot of people's dreams. Like I bought, a place for my parents down in Florida. They love it, but it takes a big chunk, or it could take a big chunk out of your trading account, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely did that.
Right. So did you think about that when you're buying? You're like, okay, let me buy this. Oh, wait a minute. What do I have left to trade with?
Well, I was taking money out anyways the whole way up from once I started having success, just because I went those like 2 years without making barely anything, really like two and a half almost.
Yeah.
So I just started taking money out a lot as soon as like December 2020, January, when I had the 150K month. Pretty much took like three-quarters of the gains out every time, which I mean, kind of was dumb in hindsight because, I probably could have compounded more, but it was also good because I was just like staying safe with it during that time frame.
I'd rather you take money out than, put it into like bags, right? Like taking money out, guess what? You're just one wire away from putting it back in. So it's not that bad. But bags, emotionally damaging, financially damaging, because you can't, like, what if a good trade pops up and then you have very little cash in your account and then you have all these bags and you're like, I can't take the good trade because I'm all committed. Like,
Mhm.
did you have that moment? Did you have those times?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And
Right? And then you just watch the good trade pass you by.
yeah, the opportunity cost is just like so much more than you could think when you like, have an amazing call out and you can't trade it or you don't have enough to trade or just like whatever. Like it just stacks. That's why I say probably the best lesson is just have zero tolerance for losing trades and wrong ideas because you can always get back in. Like you can always buy a reclaim, like whatever. But when you have a winning trade, like don't be so quick to cut it. Like actually view it as in like, should I be adding to this? Like, did I get the best entry? Like, where's the next entry? See it as new setup, that type of thing.
I mean, I have a video where I say cut losses quickly like 1,000 times. I mean, did you ever watch it? Did it ever get
I
through to you?
probably should have did like sleep hypnosis with that and got it like ingrained in my subconscious.
I mean, look, you experienced it. I mean, we've talked about this, before this interview, and I say that it's good. Like I can give you all the lessons I've learned the hard way, but until sometimes you have to learn it the hard way yourself, you don't really appreciate it. You don't really, you're like, yeah, yeah, Tim, I know, cut losses quickly. And I'm like a nagging mother, like telling you to eat like your vegetables. And you're like, yeah, yeah, I know, but you don't really want to. And only when you experience the catastrophic consequences of not following the rule, then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why he says this.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is like in 2018 when I was first starting, I watched, every DVD, like every video lesson I could. And I would always tell my dad, I'm like, I'm going to keep buying courses of more successful millionaires and learn all their from their mistakes and their rules, so I don't have to make the same thing. Then I just all that went out the door. I made all the same mistakes anyway.
But I will say, it's good that you learned. And even though you didn't necessarily follow the rules, studying the rules and then experiencing the downside, then it all clicks, right? So, like, sometimes people don't study, they go through the losses and they don't even know what they did wrong. So, I still think it's useful to study first and learn the lessons, even if you don't necessarily follow it. Because now, in your mind, does it make sense now that you've seen it, on video and now you've experienced it in person?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And
So
I feel like
it,
what you do early on is super important too, because at least for me, like it felt like I was just in like a pattern, like a behavioral pattern that even though I knew that I was doing something stupid or doing something wrong, like I would still in the moment do it anyway. And I'd look back and I'd be like, why do I keep making the same mistake? Like that type thing. So I didn't like drill down deep enough, I guess. I don't know.
well, how did you get out of the funk? You said like you crossed over a million just last week, but the past few months, what have you been doing for the past like 6 months or 9 months, however long you've been on a hot streak?
Something clicked in October with just like my mindset where I finally just, I mean, got out of my own way to where I like started sizing up a little bit and started holding winners some and just doing the things that I knew I should have been doing but wasn't. And that's simply like being super patient for entries. The main thing is only playing my watch list. So I would be like, okay, look, I'm gonna miss a lot of trades that I didn't have on watch. Breaking news, whatever it is. I was like, that doesn't matter right now. What I need to do is just get good at following through on my ideas. Because the thing that ate at me the most was I would have really good call outs in 2022 and 2023 and have positions, with amazing entries, and I just totally mess it up or wouldn't follow through on my call out, like just not trusting myself, not following my word. So that was the main thing that I fixed. I was like, I'm only going to trade my watch list. And not only that, I'm only going to enter like at the key level that matters because I just got to focus on like the asymmetry opportunities and just mitigate that risk to where I'm not taking big losses. Because for me, for whatever reason, my personality, like when I take big losses, like it just kills the flow. Like what I need is momentum. So I had to get rid of that mindset where it's like, oh, there's A plus plus. I'm just going to go from like 0 to 100K trade and just forget about like what I used to make and all that and just start from scratch, start from the basics, do these simple things and kind of just stick to that. And I just started getting momentum in October and then it did start stacking.
How much have you made since October? That was what, like, roughly like 5 months ago, 4 months ago?
Mm-hmm. Uh, quarter million, I think.
Okay, nice. So, and that pushed you, over seven figures. But I love what you're saying, where you say you knew what you had to do, but all these years you haven't been doing it. And so you had to focus on your watch list. You had to focus on the patterns that work for you. You have to, just drill down and be disciplined. Like that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, another important thing that I'd say with that is maybe in 2022 and 2023, I was focusing too much on like psychology and like just what am I doing wrong instead of just focusing on like what patterns do I have edge on and just sticking to that. Like I was trying to do, like obviously the other stuff is important, but what I needed the most was a strategy that worked and to apply that strategy like over and over, rinse and repeat, find nuances, make it better, and just stick to that. And that's kind of what also coincided with October as well, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty simple when you say it like that, like just, focus on what works, rinse and repeat and just do that. But there's so much outside stuff where it's like, psychologically you can be in the wrong place, you can be trying too many strategies that aren't working, you can be listening to others like, I brought up the ticker MASS today. You haven't even looked at MASS, have you? It's not on your watch list. It doesn't matter, right? But that's good. That's what matters. Some people will say, "How could you not know MASS? It was the biggest percent gainer." But you're so focused on what you do, you don't have time for that other stuff. It sucks for me. You'll learn when you're here in Japan. I was dip buying MASS. It was like 3 a.m. I could not stay up any longer. I was like half awake, and it just wasn't bouncing. I sold MASS like in the 340s for like I made like 5 cents a share. After hours, right now it's at $4 a share. But like sometimes life gets in the way. You haven't been to Japan yet. I'm excited to see what you do in Japan. Are you going to trade when you're here in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to.
I
My
mean, you haven't experienced like the midnight trading, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. Like it's beautiful place, but it's tough. Like what's your trading schedule like? Are you up like Jack at 4 in the morning and you go all day?
I was in October, but I feel like 4 a.m. hasn't been good the last really like month, I guess. So I
Yeah.
just stopped waking up. It's 3 a.m. here, so it's like it's rough. But
Dude, I mean, people like Evan Shunk, they're West Coast, and he's been getting up at like 12:30, 1 a.m.
yeah, that's wild.
Getting up. So he's going to bed at like 8 or 9 p.m., getting like 3, 4 hours sleep, looking at his 4 a.m. spikers, but he's up like 300,000 this year to date. His brother is up like 600,000 in like 2 months. So do you talk with them?
No, I haven't.
They're short sellers. Avoid their negativity. You got to watch out. Are you more long biased or short biased?
Well, I am now, sadly, long biased. I mean, now that the
Why is
market's
that sadly?
just because like amazing shorts are every day right now. But yeah, I mean, having short bias, I mean, I can say this and it's like whatever, like yeah, sure, but I feel like having a short bias has costed me millions in opportunity costs. Like I just in 2023, obviously like just incredible manufactured upside, it felt like, and the stuff that I trade, like the large caps, and I'm just like stupidly short biased and a raging bull market, and it was just very, very costly.
Well, you have to get on the right side of things, right? Like you could have all the most amazing shorts in the world, but in a bull market, you're just going to lose and like pull your hair out. And then in a bear market, you can be long bias and everything's just dropping and you can make whatever value case you want. But like you have to try to get in tune with the markets. And I will say, as amazing as short selling has been, I mean, I've made millions short selling. I haven't short sold anything in 3 years. It's very, very dangerous because Evan and Chris, amazing guys. I gave you their numbers. This is after they both just had massive losses. Like Evan lost like half of his gains. He was up like 5 or 600,000 on the year. He just lost half of his gains on BTOG. One squeeze, one pre-market squeeze. And Chris lost like a third of his like he was up like 900,000. Now he's up like 600,000 in 2 months. One squeeze, that's all it takes. And BTOG, frankly, they were right. Like a few hours later, it did crack. But like any of these squeezes can get much more dangerous than you realize. And you can't necessarily last through that. And you, my friend, have had some discipline problems. So when you partake in a strategy where you might blow up and you have discipline problems, probably not that smart. It's like giving a drunken driver the keys to a Ferrari and being like, don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Would
No,
you admit that? Like if you were a short seller now, you might not do so well sometimes.
yeah, and I mean, I was shorting like the real companies, like blue chips and stuff that make money. Like it was just, I don't know, man. Like I've done some really dumb things to get here. It's
You've
a
done things, but you've learned from them and you're here. You're seven figures. Like, did you tell your parents? Did you tell your family how you crossed into seven figures?
yeah, I did.
Did you celebrate it all?
Yeah. I mean, I went saltwater fishing Saturday. That was pretty fun. That was a good celebration.
I love you guys, but you need to know how to celebrate. Like this has been something that you've been doing, trying to achieve for years. Fishing is nice. You get up early in the morning, you get cold, you get bored, you don't catch much. If you're like Jack, you catch zero tunas, Jack. What's going on?
Yeah.
But it's fun if you like that. If you like that kind of thing, that's how you celebrate it. Did you catch anything?
Yeah, I did. But no,
Did you
I mean,
catch a big one?
what?
You catch a big one?
No, nothing impressive. But I mean, the goal is to have like daily lifestyle become the celebration. And I feel like I'm on the verge of getting to a place where I've fixed like the discipline issues, and now I just got to drill down on getting more nuance with my strategies, get more edge with that, and then like then every day or whatever, like my lifestyle can become like a lot more fun. I mean, enticing.
No, look, I appreciate that. I think boring daily habits is good. I give all the new millionaire for like not, celebrating. I think like when Tim Gertani crossed a million, he went out to like mellow mushroom pizza. And I was like, did you order like extra toppings? And he was like, no. But it's like those boring daily habits where you're just doing the same thing. It's not even like that big of a thing. I compared it. There was a blog post I wrote a few years ago. Ray Allen, the 3-point shooter, he
Yeah.
played for UConn and he played for Miami Heat. And the day after he won the NBA championship, the story went viral because he showed up at the dentist office and the dentist is like, "What are you doing? Like, you just won the NBA championship." And he's like, "Yeah, that was yesterday. Now I got to see about a tooth." And it's like having that mindset, most people can't even imagine it. Like I think the people with the true discipline issues who don't improve, who don't cross into 7 or 8 figures, they're out, they'll charter a jet to Vegas and they'll, go crazy for 2 or 3 days and like lose 20 or $30,000, but they're like, I don't care, I'm a millionaire. You don't have that problem. So all of your discipline problems in the past, it seems like they've matured you. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the charter and the jet thing is kind of my equivalent was buying the house. Like that set me back a lot. So I want
I
to
mean,
get,
look, you've made the mistakes.
yeah, I want to make sure I get way past the point to where I don't like have any stress with things like that. Like I feel like I can, do what I want to do and not have to worry about one trade making it all like come back into a, survival mode type thing where I'm trying to get by.
It's called having FU money, right? You want to have FU money where you can just say FU to anybody.
Yeah,
What's your FU money number?
it's up there.
You
Probably like,
don't say.
yeah.
No, it's true. I mean, listen, $1 million is nice, but after taxes and after expenses, now that you know, like the real world expenses, like it's just part of the process. But it is good to have these big goals. Like when you first started, you probably heard me say the word millionaire like 10,000 times. Like, did you have that number ingrained in like your goals?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from day one, like, because seeing Grattani make like six figures in a day back in 2018, things like that. So I was always just believing that one day that'd be me if I put in the time. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's good. There's just like always believe that I would get to a million, and that's why I kind of say like it feels like long overdue, and say it like that because I'm 7 years or maybe going on my 8th year, 7 years, something like that. But I'm like I've believed it for so long, and so like now that it's here, hopefully I got the first one over with, and now it's just like on to the races.
No, I mean, look, it happens where you look at a lot of the students who turn, small amounts into millions. The second million and the third million is always much easier because now you have like the path, right?
Mhm.
And you've learned the lessons. Like I think that you're in a great spot where not only do you have the money and the process and 7, 8 years of experience now, you have that knowledge of what not to do. Like when I first made my first million, I was a freaking moron. I didn't know what not to do. I didn't know about cutting losses quickly. I didn't know about not celebrating. Like I had no mentor. So I think that having mentors is key. Like who in the challenge has really helped you, lately?
Lately, definitely Jack. I talk to him all the time, and a couple other millionaires are in the same pod. I have two like separate pods with really good traders, like
Nice.
9 million, 6 million, 8 million traders, and then the other one's got a couple millionaires. And I've also learned from like Sang Lucci and a couple other mentors. So I spend a lot of time doing that and learning from different mentors from 2018 to 2022. But I feel like maybe I spent too much time just trying to consume all the content instead of just, like apply one thing that actually works and drill down on that and then, get feedback, adapt, fix it, do the next thing. So,
Yeah, I mean, look, you take a little something from everybody. I think it's good. Obviously, now we have a lot of content, DVDs, video lessons, webinars. There's a lot, but I think that there's a mix, and it's different for everyone. Where you study what you have online, and then you also study in real time, and you practice with your own trading. So I think that it's not an exact science for anybody. But again, I really want to congratulate you on your experience and your whole journey, not just the 7 figures. 7 figures is nice, but that's a byproduct of everything that you've done. Like, you're finding discipline, you're trying to get in tune with the markets. I think you said you're in Tesla again right now, right?
yeah. So this time I'm buying it.
Look, I mean, it's down 50% off its highs. That's been a good strategy in the past. I wouldn't bet against Elon, although I think that he does spread himself thin a little too far with the government and Twitter and SpaceX and the Boring Company. And like, there's a lot, he can handle a lot, but I do worry about that. That's probably my biggest concern, especially when you go into politics. Like, it's just a hornet's nest, right? And it's like, I think if he had just focused on Tesla, I mean, he's an ambitious guy. He doesn't care what I think. It doesn't really matter. But I think that if he just focused on Tesla, Tesla would be much, better off. But I mean, I think that his wealth, I think SpaceX is possibly even more profitable for him, or it soon will be if they do an IPO, right? Are you going to do any private investing, or are you going to invest in SpaceX?
Yeah, I wish. Not now. It would have been nice, like, before it's went
I
up.
had a chance. I had a chance to invest in SpaceX when it was like 40 billion, and that sounds like a lot, but now it's literally like 10 times that.
Yeah.
I had a chance to invest in Uber when it was right just beginning, and they wanted like it was just an idea, and they wanted like $250 million valuation. I was like, screw this. And now, what's Uber's valuation? If you had to guess, what do you think Uber's valuation is? Do you know it?
No, probably like 20 billion.
I was going to say 70 billion. Let's see. 157 billion.
My gosh.
157 billion. And I had a chance to get in at 250 million. Let me just do the math. No, I'll do it later. It's a lot. I wouldn't have held though. Like I did some private investing and I flipped a few things, like I doubled and tripled. I'm just not good at that. Like I think that you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So now investing is not probably your strength, but trading is. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have any investments? Are you holding any bags?
No, 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 definitely not. I'm telling you, I'm not holding on to losers anymore. It's not happening. I gotta nail the entry. Like I'd rather take 5 paper cuts on an idea and then get the entry right, and you're still hitting like 20 to 1 R or whatever it is, Like it's all
Yeah.
about risk reward for me now.
Oh, I asked people before we began this. I said that I was talking with you, and I was like, "Does anybody have any questions?" You have like 5 minutes to answer some questions.
Yeah.
Cool. I know you're in your bat cave and you got to go save Gotham tonight, but um, uh, this is from Torben. Three biggest mistakes that you've made.
I'd say one of the biggest for sure is I tried to do too many things, like learn too many strategies too early on. For example, the first thing I ever learned was OTC breakouts, or that was one of the first things, like dip buys and breakouts. When the market was like super hot in 2020 and OTC breakouts were probably at like their prime, maybe like ever. I wasn't playing any of them. I was learning how to short. I was learning how to trade options. I was learning, just everything that I could because I was like, if I get like 12 strategies under my belt, I'll be able to trade any market. And then, I'm not maximizing what is working while it's working. And the opportunity cost of that is just like unknown. Like who knows what would have happened if I would have been trading breakouts when they were the hottest and then switch to dip buys, like et cetera. So I'd say that trying to learn too many things at once instead of just drilling down on a strategy that has edge in some type of market and then trying to when the market shifts, it's okay to not have something to trade and to learn and just monitor what's happening, figure that out. Two, definitely the losses thing. Like you gotta keep losers as small as possible because the emotional capital too that you're saving, mental capital. So drilling down on entries and key levels and just minimizing losers is the next thing and being able to hold winners and then position sizing for sure early on, I would even still like in late in my career until recently is when I like started to fix this, I would just be sizing way bigger on losers and couldn't figure out why. And it's because I didn't know like about exponential bet sizing. And I think like doing consistent bet sizing could be good when you don't know what an A plus setup is. But once you're able to identify like what a 5-star setup is or an A plus setup, meaning like it has high odds and asymmetric risk reward, that's when you obviously have to be trading like 10x, 20x, 50x size. And I didn't understand that. So that's probably the third mistake.
So now you bet much bigger because most people think like when you bet bigger, you like double or triple your position. But trading, you can take whatever position size you want. Like you said, you can go up 10, 20, 50 times. Do you do that?
Yeah, now just recently, like literally maybe within the last like month and a half, I'm finally getting better at I know this is A plus, so I'm really pushing my limits on where I'm just like super uncomfortable holding the size because I know that I'm gonna want to hold a piece, and if I don't have enough on, then I won't want to sell like that type of thing. So
Understand, big disclaimer here. This is not for newbies. Newbies should never take 20, 30, 50 times your normal position size. You don't know. That's like giving a grenade to a baby.
yeah,
Don't do
I mean in 2020, 2021, I ran the stats like if I just put 5K in every single like options trade that I ever did, I would have made a quarter million versus like the 60,000 that I made. And of course, that doesn't take into account if I was up a lot, maybe I would have sold sooner, like different things. Maybe I wouldn't held losses as long or held them longer because I didn't want to cut, things like that. But
Maybe
early
you
on,
would have blown up too.
yeah, early on, consistent bet sizing could be good. But once you know what an A plus is, then that goes out the window. Like you got to bet more on the best setups.
All right, don't listen, kids. You're not in, you don't know what your A plus setups are yet. This is, this guy has been in the bat cave for 7 years. Seriously, like I think that it's good what you're saying. Like both you and Jack do this, and it's great because you have the experience now, you have the money, and you get rewarded. But 99.9% of people are just not there yet. They need to study more. Question from Carlos. Uh, did you step away after a big loss?
Initially, no, maybe after I lost for months straight, I kind of like detached from the market a little bit just because I was so depressed because all that stuff kind of just like hit at once, one after another after another. And so yeah, maybe in like mid 2022, I like got a little bit off my game, was being kind of lazy, like not there for after the mornings. So, but other than that, I mean, I've still been active since day one, like full time.
Kevin says, what's the best way to study for beginners? What helped you the most in the beginning?
Just reviewing your own trades, like why you did what you did, and just asking as many questions as you can and like going deep on those questions, I feel like. Because the more that you ask out loud, ask and write it down, journal about it, but the more questions you ask on like one trade, one setup, how good was the setup? Where was my entry relative to the best entry? Like all these things that you can analyze and dissect, you'll find nuances to that.
And I'll add to that. I think that, studying your own trades is great, but also studying the trades of like millionaire traders and asking them questions. It blows my mind how, so many people have access to, in the challenge, Jack's webinars every week. Now, Inner Circle, you have access to Stratty, and people just don't ask them questions. Like they're afraid to look like an idiot. They're afraid to like ask things like, oh, this might be too basic. We all start somewhere. Okay. It's good. You got to start somewhere and you got to ask. Like, it's crazy to me that people are afraid to get knowledge. They're afraid to like look like a beginner. Were you like that in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I didn't really ask many questions at all, and I probably should have. But a mentor
Well,
of mine,
Jack wasn't giving webinars back then. Now he's giving webinars. If you were starting right now and you're in the challenge and you have access to Jack, how many questions per webinar would you ask him?
yeah, like you got to come prepared. I would have at least like 5 to 10 written down and just be trying to figure out everything about his mindset, like what he's doing, his like how he trades, his best setups, analyzing his trades, like you said, and the other people on the top of the leaderboard.
Right? Do you talk with Stratty?
Yeah, he's in one of the pods that I'm in.
He's crushing it, and he's doing pods for inner circle students. I think pods are really like the future of this business.
Mhm.
Stratty is crushing it. Shout out to him. Quick question I have for you: do you think being a gym teacher is a real profession?
I mean, sure.
Be careful, you're in his pod. I joke, I kid. Listen, gym teachers are real people too. Everyone needs to learn how to climb a rope. I think if you're involved in a terrorist attack, climbing a rope is a very, very valuable skill to have, right? I can't climb a rope. Can you climb a rope?
Yeah, I'm sure I can.
Well, you're also cold. I remember last time, like at the conference, and you were so cold, and I like had to give you blankets, and you look like ET. Are you still cold like that?
All the time. My house is on like 75 right now.
Damn, dude. I keep it at like 67, 68. Like I like it cold. But this is why we're gonna go to Japan when it's hot out. I don't like it's literally snowing out right now. So I don't want you here when it's snowing. I can't even imagine. You might get like pneumonia and then we have to negotiate with like the Japanese doctors. I'll be like, look, this American is cold. So we'll only go when it's warm out. But are you excited for Japan?
Definitely.
You're
It
getting what?
was funny that you're like, yeah, I'm heading there tonight. I was like, that's awesome. Like,
I mean, this is like my crazy schedule. It's actually not ideal. Like literally, I missed MASS today. I missed ACON yesterday. I can only stay up to like 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm not even like thinking clearly. So it's actually right now. I think daylight savings is soon, but right now it's a 14-hour difference. So literally, the stock market opens here at 11:30 at night. So I can like trade a little pre-market like 9, 10, 11 p.m. and then I stay up a few hours, but like I can't stay up till like 6, 7 a.m. Then I just feel like crap. So, anyways, last question. Those aren't really good questions. I have a good last question for you. If you were starting now, just brand new, what would you do to really, accelerate your learning?
I would take the top, like the most repeated roles from you and others who are super successful, and I would just kind of like that video you said you made. Like I would literally drill down on those rules and ingrain them subconsciously to where like your body is acting on them without like your conscious thought having to have any part in it. So like drill down that. And another thing is when you see a good opportunity, I don't do this enough, but it's something that I'm trying to implement, is use the trade replay or the on-demand software and just go back and get reps, like reps, reps, reps. That the more that you experience you have on your like setup, you don't have to wait for a real opportunity in the market to get practice with it again. Like, yeah, sure, you'll know what it's gonna do. Like, go visit it a month later or whatever, read the tape, watch the action, trade it, and try to treat it like it's real money. Like if it's a 5-star dip off per se, or whatever it is, a breakout, just go back and trade that on demand and get extra reps in it. So when there's a real opportunity in the market, like you have more experience per se. Like you don't have to waste real money, real opportunity to go again. Because I've had so many A+ setups to trade in the last 2 or 3 years that I think had I done that, I would be able to have made, 5x, 10x, 20x what I did on those. I had to mess up so many real time and look back and be like, like could have been this, could have been that, like whatever. Just needed to put in the work, get the reps down, find nuances with the setup, and I think that's super, super important versus anything else I can think of because that's just edge. You need edge.
Good answer. I love it. You're so wise. You're like Yoda, but you're young, so you're like baby Yoda. And it's pretty crazy how you've learned everything in just a few years. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can accomplish in the next few years. Everyone, I'll post this online. Everyone leave a comment, congratulate Clay, help him remind himself that he's so young and he's got a bright future. So I think sometimes he can be a little too hard on himself. You can see this is supposed to be a celebratory video, and he's like, I made so many mistakes. I could have made 5, 10, 20 times. But that's how you learn, like if you look at my best trades and I put it 50 times on the size, I probably could have made 1 billion by now, but it's okay. Like you get the knowledge, you make a few million and you learn some more. And then, only then, once you have a good foundation of money and a foundation of knowledge, then you scale up, then you size up. And then, you see things like where Jack Kellogg is making, over nearly $2 million in a month. You see that? He's on fire. It's crazy, right?
Yep. Yep.
So you keep doing it. I'll see you in a few weeks, man. Congratulations again. Stay disciplined. Don't bet too much. Don't let Tesla get to you. You're still like in this revenge trade mode. So recognize that and stay in the 7-figure zone. Stay in the groove. That's what I always say.
Yep. Will do.
Cheers, man. Have a good night. Congrats again.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate everything.